Most Venerable Bhante Konnanya, and also Most Venerable Professor Pannarathna Thera, and dear Venerables and dear Upasikas, dear friends in the Dhamma. Now I am going to disclose the second part of the Buddha's biography. In our first session, we discussed from the Deepankara period to the higher enlightenment of the Buddha, right? Now in this session, I start from the first week of the Buddha. That means after the higher enlightenment. Then in his Bodhisattva period, we named him as a Bodhisattva, right? Then, and in his last birth, when he was in the palace, we named as a Prince Siddhartha. After renounce, then we identified him as ascetic Gautama. Then all the names disappeared now, right? Now he was not the Bodhisattva and not the Prince Siddhartha, not the ascetic Gautama. After the higher enlightenment, he was named as the Buddha, Sakya Muni Buddha. Some says Gautama Buddha. Some say Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, like that. There are many epithets for the Buddha. Bhagava, Arahant, Samma, Sambhava, these are the qualities actually of the Buddha. Right. After his enlightenment, then he could destroy all the defilements and fetters that creates problem in our life, that create the sansaric life, that lengthen the sansaric life. He destroyed all the evil thoughts, habits, defilements, fetters, everything. Then he became the foremost of the world, not actually world, in the universe. In the universe. Okay? Because after the enlightenment, he was 7 weeks around the boat tree, right? How he spent his first week after the enlightenment. Okay, under the boat tree. He spent 7 days, a week, rejoicing with his enlightenment. 1 week. The main thing happened in that week. The deities, they had doubt whether Bodhisattva attained to the enlightenment or not. Then, to dispel their doubt, Buddha had to show the great miracle we call Yamaka Pratihara. Yamaka Pratihara. Going into the sky, he spread water and fire from his body. Except the Buddha, no one can do that kind of miracle in the universe. Only Buddha can. Okay, others they cannot. Then he was there, the first joyful utterance is very famous, right? We call Patama Buddha Vachana, the first word of the Buddha. There are some arguments related to the first word of the Buddha. However, one verse is very famous in the Buddhist world. Have you heard the verse? It is in the Dhammapada also. Aneka jati sansaram, right? Sandhavi Sanghasa. In that according to that verse, the meaning of that, he mentioned I was wandering in this limitless, endless samsara, searching you, who? The carpenter. Gahakaraka dittosi. Now I saw you. Punagehanna kasi. You don't build house again for me, right? And I uprooted, I eradicated craving. Now you cannot build house for me, right? That is the summary of that verse. He made that joyful utterance. That is called first word of the Buddha. First word of the Buddha. Then, second week. Another thing is very important. He was looking at the board tree for gratitude, right? For a week, sitting in a certain direction. Okay, he was looking at 1 week, looking at that board tree. That is called Animisalochana Puja, right? Without closing his eyes, okay? And he was 1 week. That is the first greatest lesson for the world. What is that? Gratitude. Without speaking any word, Buddha gave a great message for the world. If anyone help us, support us, we have to pay our gratitude for them, right? Even the trees, unliving beings also. Not only the living beings, but also the non-living beings. That means not the beings, non-living things, right? The Buddha gave a greatest lesson for the world. 1 week he spent like that. Then in his third week, he was walking between where he was looking at the board tree and the board tree. In that way, he was walking. He spent 1 week walking in that place. He spent 1 week. This, if you have gone to India, you can see this picture. The later some of king, they built this path, this construction he had done because to symbol of the Buddha's walking. And the fourth week, it is very important. Fourth week, according to the records, in the fourth week, he was in the golden house, right? Golden house. But there are two interpretations regarding the golden house. One is Buddha created golden house and Buddha was there. But second one is actually that is not the golden house. In his fourth week, he recollected the deep doctrine Abhidharma, right? The rays were spread from the body of the Buddha, right? He started to spread the rays from the body of the Buddha, and that is the reason the scholars, later scholars, they named this week as the golden house because where the Buddha recollected the deep dharma, paticca samuppada, the cause and effect theory, right? That is why that the fourth week known as the golden house. He was in golden house. Golden. The scholars, they wanted to upgrade the place. That is why. In the fifth week, under the certain kind of, it is called Ajapala, banyan tree. At that time, the special thing happened. three daughters of the Mara came to the Buddha and they started to dance to change the mind. Because Mara was defeated by the Buddha, therefore he was so upset. Then daughters knew it. Daughters said to father, "Don't worry, father. Even though he could defeat you, we can bind his mind with sensual pleasure. Okay, don't worry. We will change his mind." Saying that, they came. Actually, this is also controversial point, because some says the Mara daughters, they are not the divine girls, they are the defilements, right? Tanna, Rati, Ranga, defilements. The problem is that some people explain the concept of Mara as a defilement, right? According to the canonical sources, if we accept Mara as a defilement, that means after the enlightenment, Buddha had defilements. That is the problem. Because in his 80s, right, when he was in the Chapala Chaitya, Mara appeared in front of the Buddha and he invited to the passed away. Then if Mara is defilement, that means in the Buddha's 80th year, Buddha had defilement. That is the wrong accusation, right? Therefore, 5 kind of Maras. One is defilements, one is deity, the leader of the Paranimitta Vasavarti. We call Devaputta Mara. And also the aggregates also Mara. Fabrication also Mara. Right? Death also Mara. 5 kind of Mara. Right? Not only one Mara. But some people, they think only one Mara, that means defilements. No, it is wrong. It is wrong. Because according to our records, the daughters came to the Buddha in his 5th week. 5th week. That means Tanna, Rati, Ranga they call. But there is a sutta in Sanyutta Nikaya, okay, canonical source, not only commentarial, also chronicle source. In the canon, there is a sutta related to this story. That is why these are not the defilements. These are the girls, divine girls. Okay, if you have any question, we can discuss later, okay? Because we have no more time. Right? They dance many different ways to change the mind. Right? They dance many different ways. I could find different kind of pictures related to different traditions. Okay? Who are the daughters of the Mara? Tanha, Rati, Ranga. Some say Tanha means craving, Rati means desire, Ranga also related to desire, like that, okay? In his 6th week, he went to the another place that's called where the muchal in the pond was. Okay? Then at that time, cats and dogs rain started. Okay, huge rain. Then the one of divine cobra, divine naga, came from the pond. He coiled Buddha's body to protect from the rain. Right? Like this. It was there. It was divine naga. Divine naga. Not the animal, right? Not from the animal naga. And sorry? Yes, yeah. Then after 7 days, rain was stopped. Then the cobra disguised as a youngster and respected Buddha and went away, according to record, okay? You know, once one Naga came from the Naga world, he entered the order. He wanted to become a monk. Then he disguised as a youngster and he entered the order. Right? Even though they disguise as a human beings, in 2 occasions, they cannot disguise as a human being. What are the 2 occasions? Yeah, when sleeping and taking food. Right? Those occasions, they cannot be like a human being. But once he was with one monk, when he went out, that monk went out, then he was sleeping on the bed. When that monk came back, he saw the huge naga on the bed, right? Then seeing that is why when we take our high ordination, our senior monks ask Nagosi, right? That means, are you a cobra? Like that, because the cobras cannot get the high ordination, right? Like that. In his seventh week, he was under another banyan tree called Rajayatana. When he was there, another special things happened. 2 of merchant was traveling. They were traveling from that place, and however, suddenly their carts were stopped. Okay, because according to history, unseen Deva did so to for the benefits of the merchants, that when he stopped the carts, they saw the Buddha and they went there and they offered honey and sweet cake to the Buddha. And Buddha had no bowl at that moment. The 4 great guardians, 4 great deities, they offered 4 bowls, but Buddha determined to be a one. And then using that bowl, Buddha accepted, because Buddhas, they do not accept anything by hand, only for the bowl. Like that. That is the custom of the Buddhas. Then therefore, they offered Buddha, and Buddha, having seen the Buddha's qualities, right, they went the refuge of the Buddha and refuge of the Dhamma, only 2. That is why they call Dvevachika, because at that time no Sangha, no triple gem, only 2 gems, Buddha and Dhamma, right? And after they asked something to offer from the Buddha, then touching his head, he gave some hair relics, and taking that, they went to Sri Lanka and they built a special pagoda in the eastern part of Sri Lanka. Nowadays also it is available. That is the story. Okay. However, Burmese people, they say the Swedagong is that pagoda, right? In Sri Lankan people say that the Tiriyaya Chaitya is that pagoda, right? Nowadays also, even though in Sri Lanka and Burma, those pagodas available. Then if you wish, you can go there and you can worship, offered both pagodas in Burma and Sri Lanka. And then Buddha checked the world through his Buddha checked the world to preach doctrine, right? Then he felt this is not the time to preach doctrine, because people cannot realize this doctrine. Because what are the qualities of this doctrine? It has been mentioned in the canon. Patisotagamin nipunang gambiran duddasang anu. This doctrine, again, the doctrine like against to the stream, right? This doctrine to control the mind, not become a slave of the mind. This doctrine paved the way to control the mind, against to the evil thoughts of the mind. But people don't like to it, right? There must be a great effort to train our mind against to the evil thoughts, because always our minds bend to evil side, not the good side. That is the nature of the mundane worlds, beings of the mundane worlds. Okay? Then Raga Ratta Nadakkinti. Those who have powerful lust or passion, they cannot realize this doctrine. They cannot see this doctrine. This is deep. Duddasang, Gambirang. And also Duddasang, he thought this doctrine is so hard to see. Hard to see. Therefore, if I preach doctrine, I would be exhausted. People would not be understood. Right? Therefore, when actually he thought about that according to his experience. As a prince, he spent 29 years in the palace, and as a hermit or ascetic, he spent 6 years. Then he understood how people were thinking at that time, because he thought these people are bound with the sensual pleasure. Then that kind of people cannot understand this dharma. That is why he thought. At that moment, the Sahampati Brahma, you know who is Sahampati Brahma? He is from like a Gatikara, the pure realms. Pure realms. He was the Anagami Brahma, because non-returners born in the pure realms. Right? Aviha, Atapa, Sudasa, Sudasi, Akanittaka. They are, we can say, we have been born in all the worlds. Right? All the worlds except these 5. Because if we born in this world, we cannot come again, right? The sensual world. They are called the pure world, pure realms. And the Saha means that the one of the disciple of the Kashyapa Buddha. Saha, the monk Saha. He was non-returner. After passing away, he was born as a Brahma. He called Sahampati. Sahampati. Gatikar also the disciple of the Kashyapa Buddha. Sahampati also same. Okay? Appear in that, he invited to Buddha, Venerable Sir, you are correct. Lots of people, their minds bind with the sensual pleasure. But some people in the world with less defilements. If you don't feed this doctrine, but they have no chance to realize this doctrine, right? Therefore, please, for the benefits of the wise people, please preach your Dhamma, what you realize. Then Buddha checked the world. Buddha checked the world through his divine eye. You know, Buddha had 5 eyes. That is why Buddha was named as a Chakkuma. The physical eye and divine eye, always we are talking, right? And wisdom eye, and also another eyes. And then Buddha, when he checked the world through his divine eye, he saw the people like a lotus in the pond, right? 3 kinds of lotus we can see in the pond. What are those? Some lotus, they are not coming out of the water. In the water, they are blossom in the water and decay. Some lotus level up to the water. Some lotus coming from the water and blossom and they make beauty place in the world, and they spread the the fragrance for the world, right? Then like that. The Buddha understood the mind of the people like that. Some people have strong defilements, and some people has some defilements, some have less defilements. Aiming the less defilements people, Buddha decided to preach his doctrine. At that moment, Buddha made automatically one statement came out from the mouth of the Buddha. What is that? That decision, aparutame amatasa dwara ye sotavanta pamunchantu saddam. I open the golden door, right? Those who have faith, please come to and listen. Come and listen to the true Dhamma. Amatasadara, he himself said that Amatadara means, the Amata means where is no death, that place called Amata. This Dhamma is like a door for the Amata. That means where is no death, right? That means Arahant after Parinibbana of Arahant, right? They have no death again, no birth, like that. Then Buddha was thinking, to whom I preach this doctrine personally? Then he thought, he felt, oh, Alara Kalama. He was a hermit. He has concentration power. Therefore, he can immediately touch this Dharma if he listened that. When he checked, he was passed away weeks ago. Then he was thinking, another one, Uddakarama Putta. He also passed away previous night. Both were passed away. And they were born, the Alara Kalam born in the Akinchanyatan realm. Do you know the lifespan of the Akinchanyatan realm? Right? Immaterial realm. Right? 60,000 kappas. 60,000 kappas. Uddakarama was born in Neva Sanyana Sanyatana. Their lifespan is 84,000 kappas. Right? But Buddha thought, oh, unfortunate beings. If they had a chance to listen this Dhamma, definitely they realize and they finish their sansaric life. Right? But after the 84,000 kappas, they may born in the human world, doing evil things, they may go to the hell again, right? Like that. Those things happen. Therefore, then he thought, to whom I preach those things? Okay, the 5 ascetics who attended to me during my self-mortification period. I have to preach my doctrine. Those ascetics, right? They would be understood this doctrine easily. Then he started his journey from Gaya to where they were in the Varanasi nowadays, Varanasi, Isipatana, Varanasi. They were at that time, they were in the Isipatana at Varanasi. He started his, he could go, immediately using his divine power, right? But he didn't do that. He decided to go on food, right? On the way, one naked Ajivaka, right? One naked Ajivaka, he saw the Buddha's attitude, seeing that he asks, who are you? What kind of Dhamma you follow, right? Then, who is your teacher? Like that. Then Buddha mentioned, I have no teacher. I myself realized the doctrine. I am going to Varanasi Isipatana to preach my doctrine, right? To drum the wheel of the Dhamma, right? Then he was not interested, and it may be saying that it would be like that, saying that he went taking a wrong path, and he went to the another countryside, and where the hunters live, right? Then he married to the leader of the hunter's daughter, and later she had a baby. Then she was not happy about the attitude of this man, Upaka. He is called Upaka, and she hinted always, right? Considering his attitude, his lethargic attitude. Therefore, he told, don't hint at me. I have a friend like called Anantajina. Okay, I will go to meet him. Don't hint me. Right? However, she did it. She continued again and again. Then he went and came to the Buddha and meet the Buddha. And he entered the order and he became a non-returner, and he was born in the pure realms after that. And his wife was Chapa, the hunter's daughter. She also renounced, and she became a nun, and within short period, practicing Dhamma, she could attain to the Arahanthood, the Chapa Theri. Chapa Theri Gatha included in the Theri Gatha Pali in the canon. Okay, the story is there. You can read if you are interested. You can read the verses of the elder nuns. And then the Buddha went to the Isipatana. Then 5 ascetics were there. Then they saw Buddha was coming towards them, right? Then they discussed, oh, that Gautama again coming to us, right? Asking support. We need not to, the respect like before, because he abandoned his effort, right? He abandoned his self-mortification. Therefore, we need not to respect him. But he was from the Sakyan clan, therefore let's give only chair, right? We need not to do other customs, right? Then they were discussed. However, when the Buddha closed to them, they couldn't stand their decision, right? One goes and he will come and take in his extra bowl and robes and like that. They did all the customs to the Buddha. But they address Gautama by name, by the tribe name. Then at that moment, Buddha mentioned, don't address like that to the Buddha. I attained to the higher enlightenment, okay, ready to listen to the Dhamma. But they did not accept Buddha's word. You abandoned your self-mortification. How you became a Buddha? They didn't believe the words of the Buddha. But for the third time, Buddha said same thing and they got ready to listen to the Dhamma. Then on the July full moon day, Buddha started his first sermon, that is called Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Please repeat after me, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. That is very important. That is the first sermon of the Buddha. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Yeah, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Okay, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. You know, in this sutta, Buddha rejected 2 extremes, as I mentioned in my first lecture, right? Buddha rejected 2 extremes, self-mortification and self-indulgence related to, right? Eternalism and nihilism. Rejecting those 2 extremes, Buddha introduced middle path. And also, Buddha explained the 4 noble truths. Right? 4 noble truths. Actually, Buddha spent 5 days to preach this doctrine. Keeping 2 people with him, 3 people sent for alms. And what they collected in the alms round, 6 people lived. Okay? Then Buddha spent 5 days. You know, in the only Gonadeniya, at the end of the first day, Gonadeniya attained to the extreme entry. Right? He was the first disciple who realized the doctrine. Then he asked ordination. Then Buddha using his right hand, Buddha addressed that Gonadeniya, come here monk. Then he disguised as a monk and he appeared in front of the Buddha. That is his ordination. This method we call Ehi Bhikkhu Pabbajja. But only Buddha can use that method. Disciples cannot use Ehi Bhikkhu Pabbajja method. Okay, only can the Buddha. Right? Because if Buddha, you know that the Buddha did not ask that to all the people met and all the people asked ordination from the Buddha. Buddha did not address to all people, only for the qualified ones. You know, Buddha did not give that kind of ordination to his son or Rahula, or Nanda, or Ananda, Devadatta, right? They have to get their ordination from the monks. But Buddha gave this kind of ordination for 5-fold monks, and other monks, then we are going to discuss about their stories also. And if Buddha called like that, Ehi Bhikkhu, then he definitely will become an arahant in that very life. They never go to the next life, according to these stories. The people who the Buddha addressed to come here monks, they all attain to the arahanthood, right? And also, Buddha did not address to the ordinary people to come here monks. On minimum, they must be the extreme interest. But ordinary people, the Buddha did not address come here. That is why he did not address to the Rahula, Nanda, Ananda, Devadatta, Upahali, Bhagu, Kambila. The Buddha did not address to them like that. Only for the nobles. But in certain occasions, even though they become arahant, lay arahant, Buddha did not address like that, according to their karma. I will give some examples in the future, okay? Then at the end of in the rest of days, 5 days, Vappa, Mahanama, Kondanya, Assaji, they also attain to the extreme entry, the first level of the noble path, right? Then at the end of the 5 days, when all became arahant, extreme interest, then Buddha made a special sermon for them. That is called Ananta Lakkana Sutta. That is the second sermon of the Buddha. What is called? Ananta Lakkana Sutta. What is? Please repeat. Ananta Lakkana Sutta. Ananta Lakkana. That is the second sermon of the Buddha, the discourse of the Buddha, the second one. Listening the Ananta Lakkana Sutta, all became an arahant. All the fivefold monks, they became an arahant. Okay? Then what is the first sutta of the Buddha then? What is that? Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. What is the second one? Ananta Lakkana Sutta. Okay? Yeah. Then they all they were the first 5 arahant disciples of the Buddha. Okay? Yeah. Then, when he was at Isipatana Migadaya, one of youngster called Yasa, he was wandering from the house because he was not satisfied with the mundane life. Then, however, due to his previous meritorious power, he close to the Isipatana. Then Buddha saw his qualities, and Buddha came out from the temple and he went there and he addressed Yasa, come here, but not for ordination, just for talk, okay? Yasa, come here. Then Yasa said, Venerable Sir, I am not satisfied with the mundane life. But he was the millionaire son. He had all the facilities. He also spent his life like a Prince Siddhartha. He had 3 palaces, right? And all the facilities with him, but he was not satisfied. Then he went to the Buddha and listened to the Dhamma. And he, then in the palace, the mother and father were so upset without seeing the Yasa. Then father sent in his servants to find out. In father himself went to the Isipatana Migadaya, right? Then he saw the slippers of his son, and he entered and he met the Buddha and asked whether he saw the young boy. Then Buddha addressed him to sit there, and Buddha preached doctrine to him. Okay? Then at that moment, Yasa was the extreme enterer. After listening the Dhamma, he became a extreme enterer. And listening the Dhamma, Buddha preached to his father, he became an arahant. But he also lay person, is still lay person. He became an Arahant. And then the father of the Yasa, the Baroness, millionaire of the Baroness city, and he became also history mentor. And he went refugee of the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Right? He was the first householder who went refugee of the Buddha. Okay? Not only Buddha, triple gem. Triple gem. Because the Tapassu Ballika who offered the honey and sweet cake, they were the Devachikas who went refugee of the Buddha and Dhamma. The father of the Yasa, he was the householder who went to refugee of the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Because at that moment, Sangha also there, right? Fivefold monks were there. Right? Therefore. Then Yasa got ordination. Right? The father identified him. Then father invited him to home, but Buddha mentioned he cannot go now home because he has no defilements. Right? He attained to the Arahanthood. Then he invited the Buddha, the father invited the Buddha and Yasa and monks to Dana, next day Dana, lunch. And the another 4 friends of the Yasa came there, okay, to meet Yasa, and they listened Dhamma from the Buddha. They also attained to Arahanthood. Another 50 friends came from there, from various directions there. Then they also listened in Dhamma. They attained to Arahanthood. Okay? Yeah. These are the friends of Yasa. They all became Arahant. Then now 60 Arahant in the world. 60 Arahant in the world. Okay? At the house, at the palace of the Yasas, or the Baroness millionaire's house, after the Dana, Buddha delivered a sermon, listening that the mother of Yasa and the ex-wife, they attained to the stream entry stage. Then they were the first 2 female disciples. Okay, first 2 lay female disciples of the Buddha who went refugee of the triple gem. Okay, mother of Yasa's mother and Yasa's ex-wife. And then Buddha instructed all the Arahant to go out from the monastery to preach Dhamma. Right? Buddha sent them to preach Dhamma. They were instructed, go alonely, not as a group, one monk taking one road, okay? For the benefits of the many people. Buddha sent them to preach Dhamma for the people, right? All were Arahant. And sending them for the missionary service, Buddha himself, he decided to go to the Uruvela, Gaya area again. Why? Because when he was practicing self-mortification, because he knew he had known that 3 kind of jatilas who had 100 followers. The Buddha wanted to tame them because they had qualifications to become a noble Arahant. Then that is why Buddha knew that, and Buddha thought to go there, decided to go there. On the way, he met another 30 youngsters searching a woman. Then they asked from the Buddha whether he saw a woman. Buddha mentioned, what is important? Searching another one or searching ourselves? They told, searching ourselves is very important. Buddha preached them. They realized Dhamma. They attained to the Arahanthood. And Buddha sent them also to preach Dhamma for the missionary service. Then Buddha himself went to the Gaya area and to the where the Uruvela Kashyapa, called Uruvela Kashyapa, Jatila lived, to his hermitage, his monastery. Then, yeah, this is the story of the Baddhavagyas, we call 30 Baddhavagyas monks. And he himself went to the Uruvela Kashyapa monastery and asked a place for one night accommodation, right? Then Uruvela Kashyapa said that we have no extra hut here, we have no place to give you, but our firehouse, if you wish, firehouse available, you can spend out, but there is a problem. The poisonous cobra there, right? Poisonous cobra there, it may harm you. We cannot promise, we cannot, we cannot say that he is innocent, he is so then wicked one, right? It is wicked one, therefore it may harm you, right? Buddha said, okay, I'll go there, I can spend that night. Then, so in the Buddha, the cobra got angry. Cobra got angry. He started to spread fire. The Jatilas, they saw the fire. The firehouse, right, set fire. The Buddha also spread fire, right? Cobra also spread fire. There was a huge fight, right, between Buddha and the cobra. Then finally, in the morning, the ascetic thought, but Buddha did not fight actually. Buddha just spread the fire from his body to tame him, okay? Then Buddha had no fight or argument with others, right? Then the ascetic in the morning, they came to the firehouse to cremate the Buddha's body, because they thought the Buddha would be dying due to the poisons of the cobra. Then, when they opened the door, Buddha gave a ball to them, right? In the ball, that cobra in the ball. They were surprised, right? Cobra was tamed by the Buddha using his spiritual power. Then they were surprised seeing cobra in the ball of the Buddha. Then Buddha, to tame Uruvela Kashyapa, Buddha used 3,500 miracles. 3,500 miracles. For one people, only for the Uruvela Kashyapa, Buddha made that amount of miracles, right? Only one person, tame one person. But Buddha knew Uruvela Kashyapa is qualified for Arahant, to be Arahant. That is why Buddha made 3,500 miracles. After every miracles, Uruvela Kashyapa thought, okay, Gautama can do this kind of miracles, but he is not Arahant like me, right? Because Uruvela Kashyapa thought he himself an Arahant, right? After every miracle, he thought like that. The Gautama can do this kind of miracles, but he was not an Arahant. He is not an Arahant like me, he thought. This is the one of miracle. Buddha created the flood one day. Then, after a few days, now he is friend of the Uruvela Kashyapa. Right? Uruvela Kashyapa got upset seeing the flood because he thought the Gautama would be died due to the flood. Taking a boat, he came there with his students, right, to to support to the Buddha, right? Then when they came there, Buddha was walking on the right place. Oh, Uruvela Kashyapa thought that is the miracle of the Gautama. Gautama can create the flood, but he is not an Arahant like me, he thought, like that. 3,500 miracles, okay? 3,500 miracles. At the end, Buddha addressed Uruvela Kashyapa. Kashyapa, understand, you are not an Arahant, okay? Then he accepted words of the Buddha, right? Yes, sir. Please forgive me. Please accept me as your disciple. Please give me ordination. He begged. Right? Then Buddha asks, how about your disciples? How about your students? Please ask them before become a monk. Then he went his students and asked, he addressed his students that I am going to be a disciple of the Buddha. What you wish, you can do it. Then they said, we were thinking from many few days, we were thinking that, but with the respect of that, of you, we couldn't ask you to be the disciple of the Buddha, but we also joined with you. Then they all came to the Buddha and they got ordination from the Buddha. Then another two brothers, Gaya Kasapa and Nadi Kasapa, they also lived that area, right? With the Gaya Kasapa had 300 students, Nadi Kasapa had 200 students, and they saw the clothes of the Jatilas and flock of hares, okay, floating in the river. Then they thought some problems happened to his elder brother and his students. Then they immediately came to the monastery of the Uruvela Kashyapa. Then they saw the monks there, Uruvela Kashyapa and his students as monks, right? They asked the reason, then they explained the reason, and then they also got ordination from the Buddha. And then there were 1,000 monks, right? 1,000 monks. With them, Buddha came to the Magadha kingdom. What for? Because King Bimbisara invited the Buddha when he was traveling as a Bodhisattva after the enlightenment to come personally his kingdom, right? Recollecting his invitation, Buddha visited Magadha kingdom to meet the King Bimbisara, to right, according to his promise, right? Then King Bimbisara warmly welcomed Buddha and his that 1,000 disciples, and other disciples also joined with the Buddha, the five-fold monks and Yasa and his friends and the Bhaddavagyas, and they all joined with the Buddha. And then at that moment, king had a doubt. What is the doubt? Who is the leader in this group? Because Uruvela Kasapa also very famous teacher. Uruvela Kasapa, oh Buddha. Who would be the leader of the group? Who would be the master? Who would be the students? Uruvela Kasapa, oh Buddha. Then king had doubt. Then at that moment, Buddha looked at the face of the Uruvela Kasapa Thera. Right? Before that, I forget it. The Buddha made a special sermon called Aditya Pariyaya Sutta for them. Then listening the Aditya Pariyaya Sutta, they all the Uruvela monks, they attained to the Arahanthood. Okay? At that moment, Buddha looked at the face of the Uruvela Kasapa Thera, and then Uruvela Kasapa Thera understood the situation, and he bowed down in front of the Buddha saying, this is my teacher. This is my teacher, like that. Okay? The king's doubt was dispelled. Then king offered his spark to the Buddha. It's called Veluvana. Veluvana. This is the first monastery in the Buddhist history. Right? Buddha accepted Veluvana as a monastery. Right? And also Buddha instructed his disciples also to accept monasteries. Accept monastery. King Bimbisara offered Veluvana. This is the first monastery in the Buddhist history. Right? This is the way, this is the custom, something offered to the sasana, pour in water. Touch in the hand, pour in the water. King offered the monastery to the Buddha and the Sangha. Nowadays, when you transfer merit for the departed relatives, you pour in water, right? Nowadays also, when offer something to Buddha Sasana, sometimes some child offer to the Buddha Sasana, the parents pour water to the hand of the child and monks, right? That is the custom. Now also we are following that custom. Yeah, pure. And yeah, relationship also like that. No? And what is this? Among the fivefold monks, the last one, Thera, when he was going alms round, the one youngster called Upatissa, he saw, because he was searching true Dharma, because he was a student of one of the religious teacher, famous religious teacher, Sanjaya. Then he was not satisfied. He and his friend Kolita, right? Upatissa Kolita. I told you in my first lecture. Can you remember? Upatissa Kolita, right? Upatissa from Upatissa clan, Upatissa Brahmana's son, Kolita Brahmana's son, Kolita, right? The Upatissa, after supporting to the Venerable Asaji, then he asks, who is your teacher? What kind of dharma you follow? Right? Please let me know. Then Venerable Arahat Upatissa Asaji mentioned, I am a newcomer to the Buddha Sasana. I don't know much dharma. Right? Venerable sir, don't worry. What you know, please tell me. What you know, please tell me. Don't think about that. Then Venerable Asaji made one verse. What is that? Ye dhamma hetuppabhava te sanghetun tathagato aha te sanchyo nirodho evang vadi mahasamana. Right? Meaning related to the cause and effect theory actually. Then he introduced Buddha as a preacher of the cause and effect theory, dependent origination. Right? Then listening the first two lines, Upatissa became an advanced instrumenter, Sotapanna. Venerable, one of you want to be a Sotapanna, right? Here, you are right. You are wishing to be a Sotapanna, right? Listening first two lines of that verse, Upatissa became a Sotapanna. Then he got to know where the Buddha was, and he went to meet his friend, and he meeting with the friends, he recite all the gatha, and listening that all the gatha, 4 lines of the verse, the Kolita also became instrumenter, Sotapanna. Now, why we can't become a Sotapanna just listening that verse? Because they could. Right? Think about that. This is not the time to discuss it. But that Upatissa Kolita, they could attain the Sotapanna just listening the one verse, right? Why we cannot? Please ask later Bhante Kondanya. Then they came to the Buddha. At the distance, Buddha addressed his monks, dear monks, please look at those two youngsters and their friends. They will be my great chief disciples. Right? At the distance. Because they met their previous teacher, Sanjaya, they invited to go to Buddha, right, with them. But Sanjaya said, no, I am not coming to meet the Buddha. Because in this world, only few wise here in this world. There are many foolish, right? Therefore, I can be a teacher with large number of the disciples, because there are many foolish in the world. But only wise goes to the Gautama Buddha, then he would have a few disciples only like that, right? He didn't like to go to meet the Buddha, but they went to the Buddha and they got their ordination from the Buddha, right? They started fulfill perfection to become a chief disciple of the Buddha from the time of Anomadasi Buddha. 100,000 kappas. They fulfill perfections to become chief disciples of the Buddha. Right? That is why Buddha knew that at the distance, before come to the Buddha, Buddha said that those are my chief disciples, like that. Then their friends, they could attain to the Arahanthood within short period, but Sariputta and Moggallana couldn't. That means the Upatissa became Sariputta because Sari, the mother, right? Mother, they took mother's name, Sariputta and Moggallana. Then once the one of Paribrajaka, Diganaka, called Diganaka, Venerable Sariputta's nephew, he went to meet the Sariputta and Buddha preached him a special sutta called Vedana Parigraha related to the feelings. Then at that time, Venerable Sariputta was fan into the Buddha. Just listening that sermon, Venerable Sariputta became an Arahant. Okay? The Venerable Moggallana, he was wandering. Actually, he couldn't control his mind. He feel lethargic in his meditation. Seeing that, Buddha went there using his divine power, advised to how to dispel lethargic, lazy feelings, and he also attained to the Arahanthood. Then Buddha summoned a meeting, a special meeting, right? On the July full moon day, that also, right? At that meeting, Buddha made a special 3 verses we call the Ovada Pratimoksha for the monks, right? Vinaya, instructed them. And also, Buddha gave the post, right? To the Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana. Okay? This is the first meeting, right? The Venerable Sariputta become a great disciple of right side of the Buddha. Venerable Moggallana become a left side of the great disciple, left side of the Buddha, right? But Venerable Moggallana is like a black color, but it is always in blue color, because black color not used in painting. That is why the artists use, instead of black color, they use the blue color. What is the reason? The thieves, they attacked the Venerable Moggallana till become his body the black, right? Black or blue. Then he passed away due to that, due to the previous karma, right? That is why Venerable Moggallana always painted as blue color, but he was actually black color, right? And that is why. Yeah? Sorry? Yes. Everywhere the artist, the Venerable Moggallana printed as blue color. Other one is the general color, okay? It's normal color. Then, King Suddhodana wanted to see the Buddha because he heard his son became higher enlightenment. Buddha was traveling here and there. He is now in the Magadha kingdom, right? Then he wanted to see his son. He sent a minister with 1,000 followers. Then they came to the Buddha and listened to the Dhamma, and they didn't invite it. They became an Arahant, right? They didn't invited to go to visit the Kapilavattu, right? Sakyan kingdom. But king cannot bear it, right? Yeah. He sent again another minister with another 1,000 people. But they also listened in the Dhamma, they became an Arahant and they got ordination. They didn't invite. There is a reason actually. There is a reason. Okay, 9 times. He sent 9,000 people with 9 ministers. But they all became an Arahant, but they didn't invite to the Buddha. Right? Some says they forgot. Can they forget? They were Arahant. Right? They were an Arahant. Arahant can forget that the invitation like that. They knew. But generally we say they forgot. But it is accusation for Arahant, because Arahant can forget that part. They came They are to invite the Buddha, right? That is not the reason. Even though some texts mention they forgot, that is not the reason. Okay. Then last one, called Kaludai, right? He is one of friend of the Prince Siddhartha, right? Buddha's friends actually. They all were nurse in the palace, right? As a friend, when Prince Siddhartha was in the palace, and finally King Suddhodana told him, please go, please invited to the Buddha, my son, to come to Sakyan clan, right? I want to see him. Then Kaludai told to the king, if you give me a permission to become a monk, I will do it. Okay, I will give you permission to become a monk. You invite Buddha and please come with the Buddha. Okay. Then after his arahanthood, he invited the Buddha. When we read his verses included in the elders' verses, okay, in the canon, we can understand what is the reason the others did not invite the Buddha. Why? That's the reason is at that time the winter, due to winter, they didn't invite the Buddha. End of the winter, Kaludai invited the Buddha and monks. 20,000 monks joined with the Buddha to visit Kapilavatthu, Buddha's hometown, to visit the Buddha's hometown. Right? That is the reason. Because when we read the Kaludai's verses, we can understand now, Venerable Sir, the trees are, right, planting again, right? Flowers are blossoming. The farmers started to plow the fields and like that. That is the symbol of the, right? Spring, like that, you know. Yeah, because winter, right? That is no facilities, right? During the time of the Buddha with the other monks. That is why they didn't invite it. Actually, they didn't forget it, right? They came there to invite the Buddha. They were an arahant, right? They had mindfulness, right? But that is the reason. However, with the 20,000 monks, according to the records, Buddha visited his hometown. He spent 60 days. 6 days. They walked 1 mile per day. 1 mile per day. They started March full moon day. They reached to Kapilavatthu on May full moon day. Okay. And then when Buddha visited Kapilavatthu, during the time, Venerable Kaludai, using his spiritual power, every day he went to the palace, king's palace, and he took meal for the Buddha, lunch, dana for the Buddha. Okay, every day he offered to the Buddha. Like that. Then he gave the message to the royals about the Buddha's journey. And at the Kapilavatthu, at the hometown of the Buddha, the elders, they did not respect to the Buddha. They did not bow down because of conceit, mana. Right? They thought the Buddha is younger than us. We need not to respect to the Buddha. Right? Even though King Suddhodana worshipped 2 times to the Prince Siddhartha, but at that time they didn't respect to the Buddha, thinking thus. Only the youngsters, they send youngsters to respect and welcome the Buddha and Sangha. At that moment, knowing that situation, Buddha again saw his great miracles, at the Kapilavatthu. What we discussed after the enlightenment, right? He showed his miracle in the Kapilavatthu to tame the Sakyans, to dispel the conceit of the Sakyans. Then they realized the qualities of the Buddha and they bowed down, right, in front of the Buddha. And also then King Suddhodana, again, he offered his park, Nigrodha park, for the Buddha and Sangha, right, for the accommodation. And Nigrodharam, it's called Nigrodharam in Kapilavattu. He offered his park to the Buddha and the disciples. And next day, no one invited to the Buddha for dana, right? Buddha started arms round house to house. Yasodhara saw it, and so in that he sent a message to the king, dear king, your son is begging on the road, right? Then king was so upset. Immediately he came to the Buddha and he asked, dear son, why you insult to the Sakyan clan? Why? I am not insulting your clan. Why not? The Sakyans never beg food like this. Yes, Sakyans never beg food, but Buddhas, they went arms round. That is the custom of Buddhas. I am not your clan, I am in the Buddha clan, right. Buddhas tribe, all the Buddhas, they go arms round. That is the custom of the Buddha. Then however, at that moment Buddha preached doctrine and king attained to the extreme entry level, okay. And then after that, after the dana, king invited to go to the Yasodhara's palace because Yasodhara didn't come there. Why? She was thinking, if I have any qualities, Buddha must visit to my palace, right? Then Buddha, Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana with those disciples, right, with the king Suddhodana, Buddha visited Yasodhara's palace. Then Yasodhara taking the legs, the feet of the Buddha, then he started to cry. At that moment, Buddha preached certain kind of doctrines and jatakas. Okay, this is not the time to unveil all the things, right? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Then she was crying. But at that moment, King Suddhodana explained the qualities of Yasodhara after his renunciation, how she spent in the palace. Listening the information how Bodhisattva is spent in the forest and what he was wearing, and like that, the King Suddhodana explained, she also practiced like that, right? He explained the qualities of the Buddha. At that moment, Buddha preached the Channa Kinnara Jataka. Please, if you have free time, write down the name of the Channa Kinnara Jataka, you can read, okay? This is not the time to explain the Channa Kinnara Jataka. Then, yes, next day, there was a ceremony at the Nanda's palace. His brother Nanda, you know? Yeah. The brother of the Buddha, right? Gautami's son. Then they offered before the ceremony, his engagement, his, enthroned as a deputy king and like that, okay? The entry in the palace, then those are the ceremonies, and they offered dana to the Buddha, and after the dana, Buddha gave his bowl to Nanda. Then Nanda couldn't give it to Buddha again, right? He couldn't ask to take it. Then therefore, he followed the Buddha. The message got the Ajanapada Kalyani, she is going to marry it to Nanda. She was so upset, and she said, dear prince, please come quickly. Okay, don't stay at the monastery, please come quickly. But at the monastery, Buddha asks Nanda, do you like to practice monasticism? Right? Do you like ordination? He couldn't reject the words of the Buddha. Right? Unwillingly, he said yes. Yes, but he was so upset. He was thinking the word of the Janapada Kalyani, his girlfriend. Right? Then Nanda, the Venerable Nanda was upset. He had no intention to meditate. Right? He said to bhikkhus, I disturb. I cannot stay in the monastery. I want to disturb. Then Buddha got the news. Then, taking the Nanda, Buddha visited heaven. On the way, he saw a sea monkey who burned, right? Burned wildfire, right? Like this, and so in the sea monkey and took the Nanda to the heaven, and he showed to the divine fairies. Dear Nanda, what do you think? Oh, Venerable Bhante, the Janapada Kalyani like a sea monkey when we compare to the divine fairies. Okay, Nanda, if you practice well, I promise you, I will give these fairies to you. Okay? Nanda agreed. Then, wishing fairies, he started to practice Dhamma. Then, he could attain the Arahanthood. Buddha knew it. That is why he promised, okay? That is the trick Buddha used, right? To tame the Nanda, and therefore, Venerable Nanda could end of the sansaric life because of the trick of the Buddha. Then, next day, Buddha was walking front of the Yasodhara's palace. At that moment, the Yasodhara introduced Buddha to her son. Okay, some beautiful verses. I need to rest. Therefore, I play that one. This is the way she introduced Buddha to her son. Okay. I played some. Okay, there are 8 verses, okay? No time to play all the verses. That is the way Yasodhara introduced the Buddha to her son. Okay? Yes, translation later. Please ask the Bhante Yasasya later, okay, translation of the verses. Then, yes, Narasiya Gasa. Yes, I will explain if we have time during the course, okay, I will explain. And then she sent him the inheritance, for inheritance, right? Touching the Buddha's last finger, small finger, and Prince Rahula followed the Buddha, Sukate Samana Chaya, your shadow also happy for me, like that, saying that. Then he asks inheritance, right? At the monastery, Buddha addressed Venerable Sariputta, this Rahula asks inheritance, we have to give him the foremost inheritance in the world. Please ordain him, right? Therefore, Venerable Sariputta gave ordination to Prince Rahula. King Suddhodana was so upset listening that. Immediately he came to the monastery and he questioned, Venerable Sir, why did you do so? I couldn't bear your renunciation. I couldn't bear the ordination of the Nanda. Now you ordained that, the Rahul also. You gave ordination to the Rahul also. Then he requested, Venerable Sir, without parents' permission, don't give ordination to anyone. Have you got your parents' permission to get ordination? No, it is temporary, right? That is why the organizers asked to get permission from your wife or family members, right? Or someone else before ordination. Right? It is very important. Then the other youngsters, Ananda, Bagu, Kambila, Devadatta, Upali, I told you the story before. Then they also got their ordination from the Buddha. And then the Sakyans waged war against the Kolyans, their relatives, due to the water of the Rohini river, right? Then Buddha went to the battlefield, and Buddha asked, what is important? What is value? Water or life? Then they realized the life is so important than water, right? Then they stopped their war. And 500 youngsters entered to the order at the field, right? Because you know what is the connection with the Sakyan and Kolyans. At the very beginning, right, from the very beginning, time to time, they are the close relatives, right? Yeah, that is why Buddha visited the places, and that Buddha preached doctrine showing the importance of showing the value of the human life. Then they stopped the war. Buddha had to show some miracles, right, to stop the war, because right, they accept the words of the Buddha. And then King Suddhodana, at his old age, he was severe sick, right? At that moment, Buddha went there with the Venerable Arahat Nanda and Rahula, and Buddha preached doctrine. King Suddhodana passed away as an lay Arahant. No, Arahant. Lay Arahant, right? He became a Sotapanna at the first time he met the Buddha, right? King Suddhodana, he passed away as a lay Arahant. Lay Arahant. And then the millionaire Sudatta, right? When he was from Savatthi, Kosala country, but when he was in Magadha country, in Rajagaha, he got to know Buddha is near the monastery, right? Then he, like Sumedha Tavasa, just hearing the word of the Buddha, the word of the Buddha, he couldn't bear. At the midnight, several times, he walked towards the monastery, but he knew that is not the time to meet the Buddha. In the dawn, he went to the monastery, Buddha saw him through his divine eye, and Buddha came out the monastery to meet him. And Buddha addressed, when he was at distance, Buddha addressed by his name Sudatta. He was surprised. How Buddha know my name, right? Then Buddha knew that he would be the great patronage of the Buddha Sasana in the future, right? Then he went refugee of the Triple Gem, and he invited the Buddha to his city, Savatthi, right, in Kosala country. And inviting the Buddha, he went to the Kosala country and his hometown, and he asked land to build up a monastery, the Jeta's park. But Jeta, he didn't like to give it. But finally he said, if you spread the golden coins on the floor of the park, I don't give you that one. But taking the words, spread the golden coin, he started to spread the golden coins on the park, right? When he spread like that, then Jeta was surprised, right? Knowing the intention of the millionaire Sudatta. He was named as Anath Pindik also, because he gave food for the poor people. Right? Then Jeta said, oh, okay, enough. Then therefore, after building the monastery, that Sudatta decided to name that monastery as a Jetavana. Jetavana. All the suttas preached at the same vihara. It is Pali, in the discourses mentioned, Jetavane, Anath Pindika Sara. Both names were included in the suttas because to gratitude to them, right? Yeah.
The trees, they didn't cover it with the gold coins.
Yeah. But he also joined to the, exactly. Then he spent, how many? 54 crores, right? 54 crores means 500 millions, right? I think so. No, 5,400 millions. And crores means, the 10 million plus 54. And he spent to build this monastery. Then he offered this monastery also, pouring water to the hand of the Buddha, right? That is the ancient custom. That was the gate monastery, right? Millionaire Sudatta, Anathapindika, he offered dana. Buddha and his disciple, every day he offered dana for 2,000 monks. 2,000 monks. He had three daughters, Chula Subhadra, Mahasubhadra, Sumana. They were the, organizers of the dana, right? Time to time. There are stories about them, but it is not the time. Now we have only 30 minutes. But after death of the millionaires, he was born as a deity. Then as a deity, he visited time to time the Jetavana. Then he has made a joyful utterance. Idang hitan Jetavanang isisanga nisevitang autan dhamma rajena piti sanjannima. It is pleasure to me, Buddha and the great disciples living in my monastery, like that. As a deity also, he rejoiced seeing the monastery. Then his son was not the follower of the Buddha. The millionaire made a trick, right, to send to the monastery, and he told him, if you observe 8 precepts, I will give you 100 coins, golden coins, right? Then he took a promise from his father, and he went there and he observed 8 precepts for money, not for the spiritual life, okay? Then just after next day, coming to home, he asked money from his father. Okay, he gave 100 coins. The next day, the Anathapindika, the father, he told him, if you learn one word of the Dhamma, I will give you 1,000 golden coins. Then he was so happy. He went to the Dhamma hall and he was sitting there and he listening the Dhamma. He was trying to catch the Dhamma, 1 point. But Buddha determined not for the word, but for the meaning. Right? Then at the end of the sermon, he realized the Dhamma. He became a stream enterer. He spent that night the monastery and early morning with the Buddha, he went his palace. In front of the Buddha, king gave that money, what he promised, right? Then he was shamed. He rejected money. Then I got the valuable prize, valuable gift from the Buddha like that, right? However, he also became a follower of the Buddha. Then this is one of daughter, Chula Subhadra. There is a story. She marries to the other religious youngsters who followed the Brahmanism, and Buddha visited her home, and after the dana, Buddha praised the qualities of the Chula Subhadra, the daughter of the Anathapindika. And the story of the Visakha. It's a large story, okay? If you need to know the story, please ask later. It is not the time to explain, okay? The Visakha was the great female patronage of the Buddhism, right? Buddha. She built another great vihara called Pubbārāma, very close to the Jetavana, right? There is a story. She had a golden necklace, right? It was the, right, I think more than 200 million value. She forgot it at the vihara. Next day he got it, but he didn't like to wear it again. Then he estimated to sell it. No one could buy it, but she himself bought it. She herself bought it and spending those money, she built a vihara called Pubbārāma. She also offered Dana Buddha and the bhikkhus every day. In her house also, 2,000 monks daily, they got their alms. And this is the story related to retreat. You know, the group of monks visited Buddha with the, wet robes due to rain. That is why Buddha recommended extra robe for them. Okay, that is the point. The retreat is started. Okay. Then, have you heard the Kassapa, Mahakassapa Thera? This is the story of the Mahakassapa. Buddha, Mahakassapa, his lay name was Pippali. Pippali and his wife themselves were in the yellow clothes. They started in search of the real Dhamma. Then Buddha knew their qualities and Buddha came to meet them, and Buddha gave ordination to the Venerable Mahakassapa. After the Buddha, he was the president of the first council, right? Yeah. Then Buddha shared his robe with the Venerable Mahakassapa. Only with the Mahakassapa Buddha shared his robe, not with others. That is also very special. Right? Mahapajapati, Gotami, wearing a yellow cloth and shaving their heads, right, with 500 ladies. She visited Buddha when Buddha was at Visala, right? Kutagara forest, Kutagara hole in the forest. But she requested for 3 times ordination for ladies. But the Buddha rejected. Why? Considering the social background of India. Because the Brahmanas, due to the Brahmanas' customs and rituals, the ladies had to face lot of difficulties, right, in the society. That is why Buddha rejected for 3 times. But with the request of the Venerable Ananda, Buddha introduced 8 policies. If they accept those 8 rules, that would be the ordination for the ladies, right? Eight rules. Then Mahapajapati and the ladies, they accepted those rules and they got ordination from the Buddha. And this is the story of the Pindola Bharadwaja. He took one of the, one of ball, one of the millionaire arranging a wood, sandalwood ball on the top of the stick. Then he challenged, if there is a Arahant, okay, he may take this ball. Then Venerable Pindola Bharadwaja, with the advice of the Mahamoggallana, he took it. But Buddha criticizes. Then Buddha banned to show the spiritual powers at that moment. Okay? And listening that, the other religious leaders, they got the news, Buddha banned to show the miracles. Then they challenged to the Buddha, we are not show our miracles for the little things. If Samana Gautama wish, please come, right, to show his miracles with us. Right? Buddha accepted challenge, and under a certain mango tree, Buddha showed miracles, because Buddha mentioned, I made a rule for monks, not for the Buddha. Right? Therefore, he did it. Then, after going to the sky to show the miracles, that Buddha did not return to the human world. He went to the Tavatin's heaven to do another duty, right? Another duty. What for? To preach doctrine to his mother, because the Queen Maya was born in the Tavatin's heaven, not Tusita heaven. But Buddha went to the Tavatin's heaven, sitting on the Sakra's seat. Buddha started deep doctrine, to preach deep doctrine, Abhidhamma sermon for 3 months. Right? He observed retreat in the heaven, right? Then he continued his sermon. But time to time he visited human world for alms, right? For alms. But at that time Buddha created another Buddha's form that determined to continue the sermon. Right? Like that, using his Buddha's power. Then at the end of the sermon, the Bodhisattva, the mother Bodhisattva, the mother deity, she could realize Dhamma and attain to the extreme entry level. The Venerable Sariputta attended the Buddha during the time when he visited the human world. And Buddha continued for 3 months. Right? At the end of the sermon, Buddha came to the human world from the Sankasa, city called Sankasa. Right? Then there was many miracles there, because when Buddha visited human world from the Tavatin's heaven. But there was a special person there, youngster, called Sirivadda. Who he was? He was the future Buddha, Mettaya Buddha, Bodhisattva. He was born there. Seeing the miracles, he entered the order, but he couldn't realize the Dhamma, because if he realized the Dhamma, how he became a Buddha, right? Then he couldn't realize anything, but he practiced monasticism as a monk. But after retreat, he got 2 pieces of clothes from devotees. Then he offered it as a cover, as a cover of the roof of the Buddha's hut. Then at that moment, Buddha addressed bhikkhus, dear monks, please look at this monk who offered cloth to the Buddha's hut, and he will be the future Buddha. Buddha gave the great confirmation to the Bodhisattva, Mettaya Bodhisattva. And this is the ordination of the Pajapati Gautami. And sorry, the slide change. And this is the story of the Kema. Kema was the beautiful wife of the King Bimbisara, right? King Bimbisara. She didn't meet the Buddha because she heard Buddha is criticizing the lady's form, lady's complex and the beauty of the ladies like that, right? Therefore, she didn't meet the Buddha. But King Bimbisara made a trick to meet the Buddha, right? Then at that moment, gradually, when she was walking in the park, her servants, she directed to their servants, they directed her to the Buddha. Then when she went there, the beautiful lady was fan into the Buddha. She thought, oh, I heard the Buddha criticized the form of the ladies, but here the beautiful lady is fan into the Buddha, right? She was surprised. She was so beautiful than her. Then when she was looking at her, Buddha determined, this one created form, okay, this is not the actual lady, real lady. Then Buddha determined to gradually to decay the form, right? Then that is the story of the Kema. Then Kema realized the truth and she became none of the, one of that, the female disciple of the Buddha, and later she became an Arahant, and she had a post, what is the chief female, one of female disciples of the Buddha, represent the right side of the Buddha. And the Uppalavanna also so beautiful. She had many proposals to marry. But her father thought, if I give one person my daughter, the others would get angry, right? Therefore, father take her to the monastery and gave to the Buddha, dear sir, please give her ordination, right? Then she ordained and she became an Arahant nun within short period. She was the other chief disciple of the Buddha, represent the left side of the Buddha, right? This is the story of the Kisa Gotami. Kisa Gotami. Have you heard this story? Very interesting story. Her son was died, but she didn't believe it. That she was wandering in search of medicine for her sons. But others laugh to her. They question, okay, no one can find the medicine for the dead people. But Buddha said, I can cure your sons. Please bring mustard seed from a house. But those who have not happened the death in the house, right? Then those who have not died in the house, but every house she could find mustard seed. But if he asks, anyone died here? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Right? Our father, mother, and other relatives died in this house, like that. She realized this is common for all. Bearing her son, she came to the Buddha and she got ordination and became an Arahant. Right? And then Patachara, all the relatives died same day. Her husband, 2 sons, parents, brother. Then, right? She was so upset. She started to wander here and there as a mad woman. Then one wise people sent her to the Buddha. Buddha advised her how to console her mind, and she realized the nature and she attained to the Arahanthood. And she also became an Arahant nun. Okay, this is the story of the Sunita. Sunita is the low caste man. He was an innocent, but Buddha gave ordination to him, right? He was surprised because according to the caste system, they couldn't get any chance, ordination, or to learn Dhamma or anything else, right? Follow the Brahmanism. But Buddha gave ordination to him. The story of Sopaka. right? His stepfather tried to kill him. At night, taking him to the cemetery, he tied with the dead body. But the mother did not know it. But Buddha saw him, and Buddha escaped him. And Sopaka Samanera, he also attained Arahantut. Story of the Sopaka. There are many things to discuss, okay? The related suttas here there. The story of the Rajumala. She tried to commit suicide. Buddha knew it and visited there. And Buddha advised her, showing the importance of the life, value of the life. Then she also changed. Due to her change, her mistress also changed. Okay? And sometimes Buddha visited the Brahma world to tame the Brahmas. Story of the Baka Brahma. In the Pali Canon, there is a story. In the Sutta also there discourses how Buddha tamed the Brahmas. Who is this? Alavaka, not Angulimala, Alavaka, right? In the Alavaka Sutta in the canon, there is a story how Buddha tamed Alavaka, right? Then later, the Yakka demon, he became a disciple of the Buddha. Yeah. Alavaka. The story of the Angulimala Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. Angulimala tried to kill the Buddha, right? If Buddha did not visit there, he would kill his mother, right? But Buddha stopped it, and due to visit of the Buddha, Angulimala became an Arahant, right? Finally. If he killed his mother, he would go to the hell, right? For a kappa. And you know, the Venerable Angulimala had many accusations from the people, right? People accused to him, you killed our father, mother, our brothers, sisters, like that. But sometimes they attached to the Venerable Angulimala. But Buddha mentioned, bear it, Brahmana, bear it, right? You have to finish your karma, right? Like that. And how Buddha supported the sick monk, right? One of monks, he got sick. No one attended him. But Buddha went there, and Buddha attended him and preached Dhamma, and he attained to the Arahanthood. Because that monk also did not attend to the other monks, because he spent an isolated life. Then when he got sick, the others did not support him. The story of the Ambamali, courtesan Ambapali. Once she invited the Buddha for dana for the next day. Buddha accepted. So she was so happy, because she didn't think Buddha accept her invitation, because she was courtesan. But on the way, she met the Lichavi royals, you know, the kings of the Lichavi, Vajji kingdom, called Lichavi. Then she hit her vehicle, cart, to their carts. They asked the reason. She said, oh, the Buddha accepted my invitation for next day. I am so happy. Now I am going my home to prepare dana. They asked, we will give 100,000 golden coins. Please give the chance for us. No, if you give 100,000 or 10,000 or millions, so no, I don't give that chance, right? Then visiting the Buddha, the Lichavis requested Buddha for the next day dana, without pretending, right? They are pretending. They invited dana next day to check the Buddha. Then Buddha rejected. Buddha mentioned, I already accepted the dana invitation from courtesan, Ambapali, therefore I cannot accept your invitation. Buddha rejected their invitation. But Buddha praised the Lichavis, their bodies, their complexion, how they were like deities in the heaven. Right? When they visited the Buddha, Buddha addressed monks, dear monks, you are not Arahant, you are mundane monks. If you haven't seen the deities, please look at those kings. They are like deities in the heaven, like that. You know that this is the story of the Singalovada Sutta. How Buddha instructed Singala to worship the directions. Okay? Yeah, Singalovada Sutta, it is very famous in the Buddhist world. Yeah, it is related to discipline for the lay people, right? Then Singalovada Sutta. This is the story of the Brahmajala Sutta, the first sutta, first discourse in the canon, Brahmajala Sutta. Okay? If you need to know more information, please ask me later. Okay, not now. This is the story of the Kutadanta Sutta in Digha Nikaya, Kutadanta Sutta. This is the story of the Ahinsaka Sutta. I have no time to. Okay, now 10 minutes only. This is the story of the, Parasarya Brahmanas, how he sent his students to check the Buddha, then that student followed Buddha, three months to find any fault of the Buddha. But after 3 months, he handed over his report. Then in the report mentioned I couldn't find out any fault of the Buddha, right? After 3 months. Yeah. The Akkosa Bharadwaja, he accused to the Buddha because his brother got ordination from the Buddha, but he thought that is the trick of the Buddha. That is why he accused to the Buddha. The Akkosa Bharadwaja Sutta. This is the story of the Dhananjani Sutta. Okay, this is the story of the Kasi Bharadwaja Sutta. Right? This is the story of the Vasala Sutta, that you have a sermon related, you have a lecture related to Vasala Sutta. Okay? When at that moment, when after that, because after that lecture you can question if you have any thing need to know the Vasala Sutta, because Buddha introduced here who is the real downfall, right? This Brahmana accused to the Buddha as a downfall, Vasala. But Buddha explained who is the real Vasala, downfall. One Brahmin, right? He was an innocent, but he had no one to support him because his 4 sons, they did not support him. He came to the Buddha and he got support from the Buddha, and the sons again started to help him, attend him. One of Brahmana, that's also another story. And also this is the story of the Satchaka Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. I think you may not know the suttas, right? The Satchaka came to defeat the Buddha. Finally, he couldn't answer the question of the Buddha. Okay? The story of the Sundari, the Brahmanas, the other recluses, right? Killed Sundari and accused the Buddha. Right? They accused the Buddha and disciples, rape her and kill her. But they couldn't keep that secret. Right? They did it. They did it. Finally, everything was unveiled, right? Then king got to know who did this one. The people accused to the monks listening that assassination, but finally they understood who did it. The story of the Kachayana, youngster Kachayana visited from the other country. Okay? And after ordination, after Arahanthood, Buddha sent him to that country to spread Dhamma. The story of the, the Udaya Brahman invited the Buddha for the retreat, but he couldn't offer dana due to the dry season. They had lot of difficulties. One of the merchant, right, horse merchant, he supported monks for dana. The 3 millionaires, Kukkuta, Pavarika and Gosita, they invited the Buddha and they built 3 monasteries, right, and offered to the Buddha. And Gositarama is very famous because among the monks, 2 groups, Dhammadhara and Vinaya, related to discipline and Dhamma, there was argument, they split, they separated, as right. Then Buddha advised them to stop their argument, but they didn't. Then Buddha went to the forest. At the forest, elephant helped to the Buddha. The Paraleya, story of the Paraleya. Then seeing the elephant as attendance, right, attend to the Buddha, then the one monkey also gave a honey hive, right? Then he offered to the Buddha. Both were died and born as a deity in the heaven. This is the story of the Devadatta. Devadatta split the Sangha. Due to the advice of Devadatta, King Ajasatta, right, he killed his father, right, but he did not know what did King Bimbisara to him, right. These are some stories actually. Finally, King Bimbisara was assassinated by Ajasatta. Then he was born in the hell, Ajasatta, as a result of that, right. But with the support of Ajasatta, Devadatta tried to kill the Buddha, send in elephant and doing many things, but he couldn't, right. Elephant, right. He was tame in front of the Buddha with the power of the Buddha. Many different ways Devadatta tried to kill the Buddha. Finally, he himself, right, Devadatta himself, right, roll in a huge stone, right, he fall to the Buddha, but he couldn't do anything to the Buddha. But Buddha's one of slide of the stone bleed the Buddha's leg, right? Jivaka, physician, he did a surgery to the Buddha's leg. This is the story of another nun, because this lady entered the order without knowing she was pregnant in the Devadatta monastery, right? When when they got that means when they knew she was pregnant, Devadatta was frightened for the ill praise, right? Then she dispelled from the monastery. She went to the Buddha, and Buddha appointed a committee to check her. That committee decided it is not her fault, right? Then that son was Kumara Kasyapa. After that, Devadatta born in hell like this, right? The story how Bodhisattva went to the hell, Devadatta went to the hell, right? Devadatta wanted to see the Buddha final, right? But near the Jetavana monastery, he wanted to take a bath before meet the Buddha, but when he touched his feet on the floor, he was sink, right? In the floor. He was born in hell. But then later Ajasatta met the Buddha and he was disciple of the Buddha, right? Then Cobra Ananta, called Ananta, he prevented the Buddha to go to the heaven, and Venerable Moggallana tamed it. The Sakra leader of the deities visited Buddha time to time. King Kosala also visited time to time. Right, the story of the King Kosala and Mallika. Okay, now time is over, but this is the story of Mallika. Right? This is the story of the Sivali Thera. This is the story of the Upali, householder Upali. This is the story of the Bodhiraja Kumara. This is the story of the Machariya Kosya. This is the story of the innocent Brahmana who had no food. Then Buddha gave, before preach, he gave food to him. And this is the story of the Punna Mantani, Sunaparanta Punna. And this is the story of the Sundari Chinchimala, Chinchimanoika, right? She pretended as a pregnant and accused to the Buddha, right? The Sakra cut the, what is the bindings, right? Then threads and using the Devabhuta like a mouse, right? Then she was also born in hell. This is the story of the Magandiya. This is the story of the Samavati and Kujjuttara. Samavati was one of the wives of the king Udena, but Magandiya also wife of the king Udena. Magandiya got angry with Samavati because Samavati was the disciple of the Buddha. Then with the support of the relatives, the Magandiya killed Samavati and her followers. They was born in the Brahma realm. This is the story of the the king who became a non-returner, right? This is the story of the Bahya Daruchirya, lay Arahant. Buddha visited Sri Lanka 2 for 3 times, okay? This is the first visit to tame the Yakkas. The second time for the another part to console their one of the war because they wage a war for golden and gems chair. The Buddha visited there and Buddha preached doctrine and Buddha could seize their war. And third time Buddha visited another place with the invitation of the Cobra king, Cobra tribe. Actually he is the king, belongs to Cobra tribe. And this is the story of Venerable Sariputta. One of Brahmin attacked him, but Venerable Sariputta, without looking at him, he continues his journey. But Brahmana was so upset and he begged pardon from the Sariputta, Venerable Sariputta. This is the story of the Visakha and Dhammadinna. You know the Chula Vedala Sutta in the discourses. This is the story of the Nakula Mata and Nakula Pita. This is the story of the Brahmana who bathed early in the morning in the winter to clean up their evils. Yeah. This is the story of the Jiva Kambane Subha. Subha is here, right? Yeah, this is Venerable Ananda asked water from the slave girl. She was surprised, but finally she started to follow him. But, right? This is the Parinirvana of the Mahapajapati Gautami Theri. She took permission from the Buddha to Parinirvana. Then Venerable Sariputta visited his home before Parinirvana, right? Convert his mother because till then she was a Brahmani follower, Brahmanism follower, right? At the age of the 80, Mara invited Buddha to Parinirvana. Right? Buddha did not accept, but finally Buddha decided to pass away, right? Buddha addressed monks, indicating everything is impermanent, to practice Dhamma, to realize Dhamma. At Pukkusa, the story of the Pukkusa, and Buddha saw his body to Ananda Thera, it became decay, right? In his 80s. It's like a old charioteer. Chariot, okay? The last disciple of the Buddha, Subhadra. Right. Already passed the time, but on the Vesak full moon day, on the full moon day of the May, Buddha attained to the great Parinirvana. Okay? The long sutta called Parinirvana Sutta in the Nikaya. There are 6 chapters, right? How Buddha spent his last days. Yeah. He attained to the great Parinirvana. Finally. Then the cremation was held like how to cremate the universal monarch. Buddha advised to do it. Venerable Ananda, when Ananda questioned how to do it, then Buddha explained how to universal monarchs cremation do. That's as a ceremonial way they organize it. But Venerable Kashyapa was not there. The fire did not set fire till he worshipped the Buddha's body. Finally, after the cremation, the king Mallas, they didn't like to share the relics with other kings. They wage war against the Mallas, right? Then Drona Brahmana, he divided all the relics, right? Peacefully, then the problem was over. The end, right? That is the history of the Buddha. The long story actually that I summarize here. We need much time to explain these stories. If you are interested in inner story, we can discuss later, okay? Please keep in your mind the point. This is not the time to discuss with details, okay? Okay, thank you. Have a good night, okay? May the Triple Gem bless you.